they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap. From the US to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates, after racks. But really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats.
Yes, sir.
Let's a greatness that advance.
Yes, sir. It's been a while. It has been a while, but we are back in action. BTG Nation, what's up? What's good? What it do? What else we got back at the crib? What's all the greetings we got?
What up, though?
Yeah, what's like, good? You know what I'm saying? How it is. We're back after a little week break of getting things together. We're back in action for episode 16, 1-6. Season 2. You guys have been showing love too, even with us not being here. You guys been, putting the ratings up, getting the downloads up on the audio, getting those views together. So BTG Nation, we appreciate you. What's that face for, Big Dog?
I'm just trying to, we got a new technical team today, and
I don't even want to say technical team. I don't want to give it no title. We just trying to get through.
Give credit where credit is due. This is our second run.
Listen, man.
You know what it go.
All right, look, go ahead.
But I want to know is turn around. What? Turn around.
Me? Yeah, spin.
Yeah, you're the only person over there. You the technical team tonight.
There's no place to turn around.
Okay, I'm just I thought that was a Hoop Mountain jacket. I was about to be hot.
No,
I was about to be hot. I'm not playing, man.
You thought I was? Damn, she was asking for a Hoop Mountain something too. It was like, man, no. You thought that was Hoop? Come on, man.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Come on, man.
I'm saying, you know how y'all try to dress alike sometimes.
Who does?
Y'all.
The women. Man, I come out the house like, why you got the? Let's be mad. Anyway, for you guys that are listening, my wife is in the studio with us today. As we've told you guys before, Coach and I have been dolo a few times back here, but as you guys know, the show must go on when you got a project and something you believe in. So my wife is here helping. Coach and I, last week it was, my 30th birthday. I got old to my younger peers. I got old to you guys. I'm still a young buck, but we celebrated some things. So Coach and I took the week off to get some things together, but we're back.
You took the week off.
Took the week off from the podcast, but not everything else. You know what I'm saying? Everything was still in action. We had the Hoop Star shootout.
Listen, man, you can't be working when you're celebrating your birthday for 4 days straight.
4 days straight?
Yeah.
Come on,
man, because you already told me how your wife likes to do it. You said she likes to do things in 3 days.
Man.
Everybody in the world saw your pictures.
Yeah, just a couple of pictures. Everybody in the world.
I'm just saying, you're worldwide.
People.
You know what I'm saying? You're like Worldwide West, man.
We try to, we got to give them a call. We got some things brewing Worldwide West if you see us. For those of you that know. But it's been a good start to this spring. Well, in Dubai, it jumped right from winter to summer. Yeah, they say it's going to be 40 degrees Celsius on Friday. Good Lord. Yeah. Good Lord. But what's going on with what's this? Yeah, why are you changing from there though? We gotta see. All right, but we had the Hoop Star shootout.
Yep.
And this one was different because it was All-Star edition, and then we only focused on the Young Bucks.
Yep.
And it was a blast. It was a blast.
Very successful event. We had a lot of newcomers. That's what was so special about it because, anytime we can get the parents to bring the kids in to play outside of the training so they can really see what a game is like, see how their kids are going to react and things like that, and see the joy on their face after, the event's over, we've accomplished something. So now those first timers going to be regulars now.
Yes. And it's so hard trying to let parents know the importance of basketball in its entirety, not just the training, but how there's levels to all of it that helps enhance the training, and playing is part of that. And so, we've learned this early, and you've taught it to me, and you've taught it to many other people. The one thing that parents can't deny is the smile on their kid's face.
That's right.
So you just got to get them out there, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yep.
And our young bucks that have been coming continuously, they've shown immense growth. Like, man, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And then the ones who are new have a new fire. Yep. Right, and it's great. And then today, Coach and I, you see, we're still in our athletic gear and everything. We just came back. Yeah.
I'm in civilian gear.
I mean, we still athletic.
Must be nice.
What's civilian gear? You got the same thing?
It must be nice to have a Nike jacket with hoop mountain on the back.
Nobody can see the back of the dirt.
I know it's there.
Look, he's a little upset right now. We're gonna get our gear going, man. It's all love.
Butchered my jacket.
It's all right, man. But you see, got the hoop mountain stuff on. We just came from our first organized game for our young lady hoop stars, and that was a success. That was good energy. But it's all right. Wake up, old man. Yo,
I know, but just don't go ham on the buttons, man.
You come from the tunnel era, man. You come from the era where the Real Love nightclub. Yeah. Don't act all crazy. Yeah. You had Flex dropping bombs on stuff, man. I don't want to hear it, man.
I was 21 years old then, too.
Man.
I'm almost 50.
You still listen to Flex and them.
Come on, man.
Yeah, stop playing. Yeah. But how was you? You were up there looking like Pat Riley from the stands today. Setting me up. But how was it? First of all, how was it organizing the game? Because sometimes I think, parents listen, so I don't think they understand how much.
This one game, trying to get the girls to play, was probably about 5 weeks in the making. 5 weeks in the making.
Yeah.
We schedule a game, got to cancel. Schedule a game, got to cancel. Then once we finally settle on a date, what age group we're going to play. We go from one range to another. Then after that, now we got to reach out to all the families and see who can come. Mm-hmm. So we were missing like 5 or 6 girls tonight that should have been there that can play.
Yeah.
But you know how it is now. Once they get a chance to talk to the other girls, they see the videos and everything, they're gonna want to play. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna put the pressure on the parents because you just can't pop up whenever you want.
Right.
This is a privilege.
Right.
We're doing this on our time off.
Right.
This ain't no pay for play situation here.
No, exactly. And it's you run into problems, right? Because we've been saying that we're trying to build a basketball community from the beginning. One like we've been used to and growing up. And one thing that we always had, no matter what the skill level was, we could always play against the people in the community. Other teams, everybody who had their respective teams, you could always play against them. In leagues that some ran great, some weren't led so great, but we always had every Saturday, Sunday, or every Tuesday, Friday, we had games going. It's been like pulling teeth trying to get that together. So, with our Hoop Star shootout, let us know that we can create a little bit of a buzz. So now, we're going to work on some more surprises coming from Hoop Mountain so we can start to develop some competition and things because our Hoop Stars are loving it.
Yep.
And we know that other young men and women around the UAE want to see it happen too. We just got to keep pushing and moving the needle.
Yep. This Friday starts, our U16 get a chance to play again.
Oh, Friday. I almost forgot about that. Let the people know what Friday's like. It's big.
So this Friday, our U16 team will play 2 games at the Expo with 3 other teams, starting from 3 o'clock, running all the way to 7 o'clock. So 2 guaranteed teams for each, 2 guaranteed games for each team, and winner takes all. And
for you guys that are hearing Expo, you're like, oh, what's the Expo? That's the Dubai World Expo. I think Dubai has spent like the last, 5 years, maybe more, of building basically a city just for this expo to kind of let the world know what the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to look like from a tech-wise from each area of the world, from each country. They have their own pavilions and different things. So it's magnificent. And our young guys and girls or young guys get a chance to play there. A big stage for their first game outside. Right. But as we said, I remember we talked about this earlier before, and ironically, we're still holding on to this. Watch when I tell you this. Remember you said you loved Coach Thomas because he always wanted to play against the big dogs. Didn't matter where we were, who was playing, we wanted to play in the big show. You were like that at Temple with John Chaney. And, without even realizing that, it's like that right now.
Yep.
We're going to put our guys out in the fire. We're not going to shy away from anything. Your first time playing an organized game together as a Hoop Mountain team is going to be at the world's biggest expo.
Yeah.
And so
play anybody, anywhere.
Yeah, because we believe in you, and, we can make anything happen. So that's dope. That's a good little Hoop Mountain check-in.
Yep.
But, people...
Don't forget about our youngins.
Oh.
Our youngins play Saturday morning in Meredith.
Yes.
Against another academy, Ace basketball.
That's
ages,
the 5 through 8 year olds.
8 to 10.
8 to 10.
8 to 10. Yep. So we'll take a mob out there to play.
Yeah, look, everybody's getting a chance, man. Yep. This is the fun stuff right here. And what's dope is we're starting to see the residual effects. Parents getting a carpool going, this group going together, the girls starting to talk to each other more, become friends, play dates and all that stuff.
The next step is the carpool situation. Man, I ain't going to be organizing that next year.
Right.
They got to, the kids got to start, stepping up and forcing that issue.
You know what we need? A team mom.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we've always had one.
Oh, yep.
Shout out to Miss Kathy.
Yep.
Everything, I can't make Jamila that yet, but soon once she get the baking skills together, because that's what the coach's wife does. They bake the cookies, the cupcakes, and all that other good stuff. Once we get that, we got it done. But team mom, I'm gonna pencil that down because I got an idea for that.
Yeah, Kathy, man, I love Kathy, man.
Yeah,
except that one time.
That one time.
That one time, she got the wrong thing I told her to get for dinner.
Yeah.
Can't feed these guys. Yeah.
Man, no, that's it. Yeah, team mom coming soon.
Yep.
We gonna have a board, a Hoop Mountain board. I got something for you, parents. But let's get into some basketball.
Yep.
Last week, even though we didn't have the pod, I did go live just to talk with our people, and for the 5 or 6 of you that joined in and talked with us, I appreciate you. But I had a little Twitter rant because I saw a Chobo, one of them like NFL guys. He had a big head. One of them talking about how KD's legacy is nowhere near Steph Curry, and how Steph Curry's better, Steph Curry's this, Steph Curry's that, and we've seen a lot of those things. Lately Steph Curry's been getting a lot of the top 10 all-time talk and MVP all-year race and everything. And from the beginning of our podcast, right, we've always said that we're going to be fair, right? We're not going to be I got a Kobe bias. Everybody knows that, right? But still, basketball-wise, we only talk about what's real, right? And we've been saying Steph gets a pass. He gets away with murder. He gets away with murder. I think we said this before Draymond got hurt, and we talked about where he lacked that as a basketball player and how that affects his game for him to be a guard, and how if anybody else has this issue, they'll be getting killed, right? And so, they lost like 10 of the last 13 the last time I had checked. Only person that's missing is Draymond.
Right.
And Steph Curry is top 10 all-time, people say. MVP.
Well, we can run it down right now.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Since the All-Star break, they've lost about 80% of their games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't heard anything in the media about it.
No.
Remember, I called you in the middle of the night and said, "What? Is this real?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't get a chance to check up on all of the games and all the standings. But when I saw this, I was shocked. I'm looking at it. I'm like, they still got Wiggins. He was an All-Star.
And he's been quiet since the All-Star break.
And TJ, where you at?
We're gonna call him soon.
Where you at?
Yeah.
All right. Clay is back, and Clay's working his way back into a rhythm. But Clay at 75% is better than most of the league
For sure.
That's just hands down. They got a top 15 coach of all time.
That's what they say.
They got Poole. We all know he's a dog. We know that he easily could be 6th man of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got a spectacular supporting cast that knows their role. Long, lengthy, and young.
I mean, and let's mention a couple of them because TJ did. Gary Payton second.
Yep.
Otto Porter.
Yep.
You got Damian. What's my man's last name? Because he's from around
I
the
know
way.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. We got him. Like, come on, man.
So with that,
Kevin Looney.
Yep.
Championship pedigree.
Yep. And like I said, knows his role and relishes in that. So with all of that, and you got Steph, who was in MVP running, right? Still in the race now. And you've skid that much, then we need to be talking about that because, we talking about the Lakers, we talking about the Nets, we call out everybody else, but we don't call out Steph,
And specifically, like, we sat here, and we'll just go with the most recent, right? Giannis. Yep. The media murdered Giannis. He can't shoot beyond the foul line, right? He needs to work on his game. Like, all he can do is go downhill. He needs to work on the mid post. He needs to get off the ball. He needs to do this. He needs to do that, right? And rightfully so, because he did need to do those things, right? And B, you need to be in better shape. We can't rely on you. You can't. You're not here. You don't rebound as well as you should. You don't play his defense as well as you should. He got better, right? The Joker, too, got better defensively because he got
in shape.
Right? Luka right now
got in shape,
right? All the deficiencies people talked about with these people's game, they got better. Quietly as kept, too, everybody talked about KD's game. KD's become a much better defender, passer, and rebounder over the last 6 years, right? On top of his 50, 40, 90 play, right? And nobody talks about that because everybody said he wasn't effective on that lens.
Here's one thing that you can say about KD that you probably won't hear about anybody else. You don't ever hear someone talk about someone being one of the greatest scorers of all time, and in the same sentence you say, Mr. Efficiency. You just don't hear that.
Consistently.
You just don't hear that.
He's been averaging 20 since he stepped in the league in a Seattle Supersonics jersey.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, he's a monster.
Right? And so now we hear these conversations where you put Steph in the same room as Giannis, who now Giannis is multiple MVPs, multiple Defensive Player of the Year, NBA champion, and 50-point performance in that NBA championship, right? You got KD, back-to-back Finals MVP, right? You know what he did there. NBA MVP, All-NBA, one of the greatest scorers ever to touch. You put him in a conversation with LeBron. LeBron is LeBron, and you say he matches up with those guys?
Yeah.
Why are they losing right now, King?
Yeah, no Draymond,
right?
No point guard.
And what do we talk about all the time with Steph? Yes, you are the greatest shooter of all time, but when you shoot poorly, how do you affect the game? Right? And my guy was telling me last week that he creates so much space and opportunities for everyone else. I said he doesn't create that. The flow of the offense does. It's different when he creates all those things. Then he can have those struggling nights and still get you to the top.
Yeah, what people don't understand sometimes is because Steph is such a great shooter and you send two people at him, don't get me wrong, that's a long run for somebody to come double and then try to recover, right? But the person he's kicking it to isn't a dummy, isn't a non-skilled player. These guys can play. So, of course, they get a little extra time, but they're able to make a play for someone else because it's not always the next guy getting the pass to score. It's the second guy. It's the hockey assist. So, it's the spacing on the floor let's think about this. Who can you effectively double? If Clay's on the court,
right? If
Steph's on the court, Poole's on the court,
Damian Lee, all them shooters, right? And then they got the young bucks, Kuminga, and all them going crazy.
You can't double anybody,
right.
And so it's like the spacing's already there. The thing is, when they get down in the clutch, and if Draymond isn't in there to facilitate the offense, now Steph kind of has to do too much
that he can't do well.
He's more of a guy. You get him the ball and get out of his way, or you run him off some screens and things like that, so he can catch and do what he does best. But when you're talking about at the end of the game and him having to not only create for someone else while looking for his, that's just not his game.
Yes.
And I don't know why people come down on us for just stating the obvious.
Yeah.
He's a shooting guard in a point guard's body, and there's nothing wrong with that. You are a bad MF. That's just bottom line.
No question.
Bottom line.
But that's where we're like, now, because you recognize that, respect the ones that are different.
Yeah.
Because, we saw last year that KD almost single-handedly beat the Bucks because the offense was running through him without a healthy Kyrie, right? Just 1 foot, few centimeters away. we're talking about the greats. You can do that with the greatest players of all time, right? You can plug and play anywhere. That's where our concern was with Steph. Even if you compare him to Kyrie, right? Because Kyrie can still shoot the ball from the tray ball effectively to where you can't give him any space. But the difference with Kyrie is how many 6'1", 6'2" people can put you in the post? Like, you think about that. If Kyrie don't hit from the tray ball, he gonna put you on the block, or he gonna put you in the mid post. That's a different level of skill on top of his finishes around the rim. But that's where the game is different when you talk about Steph and everybody else. When you talk about the greatest, and when you talk about the greatest, you got to look at basketball in a fine tune and right at his purest.
Yeah, right now, you talk about KD, Giannis, and those guys. You just can't put him in that category just yet because he hasn't had his moment.
And you talking about just yet? It ain't coming. I mean, you had your chances already.
Yeah,
that's what makes you great, right? That's what makes Kobe great, MJ great, Magic great, Kareem, because they seized the moment. That's the difference between them, right? That's the difference between Clyde and MJ, right? That's the difference between, Chuck and whoever else. That's the difference between Zeke and everybody else.
And the guys you mentioned, they're still top 50.
Top 50.
Top 75 now because they added more players. But you got to seize the moment. And his moment his first time was when they beat the Cavs when Kyrie was hurt. Mm-hmm. He should have easily been MVP. And the reason, I know people say, well, Iguodala got it, whatever, but to give a man MVP guarding another man that averaged almost 40, almost like 16 rebounds and almost like 10 assists, and you only average 16 off the bench, to give you the MVP, that's kind of disrespectful to Steph.
Come on.
But you gotta, you gotta step up and just put the team on your back at that point in time. And then once KD got to Golden State, you ain't have a chance then.
And he was trying to get it to you the second time. Yeah. KD was trying to let it so he can get it because that's what it was. But that's my problem with the media, creating narratives, right? And remember we were talking about before when I was talking about KD's legacy and all this stuff, and I was trying to defend it. And this is the exact reason. Because we talk about just purely basketball, at a basketball game, KD game damn near flawless, right? And he delivers night in, night out, off injury, whether somebody shows up or not, and delivers no matter what they say, burner accounts and all the good stuff, but he delivers, right? Delivers every night. And you're going to say you're choosing to put a stain on his legacy. Not because of anything that actually had to do with basketball, but you got somebody who's flawed, and we get to see those flaws. Like, we've seen DeAndre Jordan get out there and strap him up side to side. We've seen Kevin Love get, you know what I'm saying? Like,
was that 2016?
Yeah.
He was supposed to burn Kevin Love up. He's supposed to send him into early retirement on that one.
Yeah, and Kevin Love knew it, but he was like, "Look, I'm here. Dellavedova not supposed to get a $60 million contract because of you." You know what I'm saying? And we're like,
it was like 39. But.
Yeah, too much, too much, right? And so that's where we're like, when you creating this narrative, because that goes into the next space of Russell Westbrook, right? Because one thing that's always was consistent was KD was like he always defended Russ too. Right, and people talk about KD as a teammate or whatever else, but when you look at it, hindsight is 20/20. I said, when you look at it now, instead he played with Russ and Harden, right, and those young guys, they probably had a lot of the same attitude and with some other immaturities things, and he was making it work there, and he always stood by both of them. And you see Harden dipped on him, Russ acted the way he was. Russ was just tough to play with. Right? And then everybody's starting to see that now. Russ is the exact same player he's been since KD left.
Number one problem with Russ, I told you. They should let that man be a two guard. Let him be what he is, man. We wouldn't be talking about this right now.
And I think that, even when you say that, the important part of it was somebody would have to teach him earlier before he got to too high with the triple-double MVPs. Teach him how to play off the ball. Because I think one problem is that he played on the ball, like Scott Brooks, enabling him to do whatever he wants. I don't think he knows how to play off the ball anymore.
But what I'm saying is that if he had been a two guard like he was in college, coming into league, we wouldn't be talking about this right now, and he would have been able to play off the ball a little bit more because he wouldn't have been on the ball so much. But when they put the ball in your hands so early, you kind of take on the responsibility that I'm a point guard.
Yeah,
that's not your game.
And and to be honest, because this is Harden at the 1, Russ has a 2. That's where it should have been.
That'd been scary.
That's the way it should have been. Reggie Jackson coming off the bench.
That'd been scary.
You know what I'm saying? That's the way it should have been in OKC. And again, KD was just standing there hooping with all of that going on too. So, and we'll go into now Russ talking about, Russ's wife made a statement geared towards Skip Bayless because of Skip Bayless' comments. And, I think Savannah and a few people have said some things before too about Skip because he's been going crazy. I think they did a poll and he's mentioned LeBron's name like 6 million times on air, like crazy like that. But his wife came out and spoke about defamation and some of the issues, and then some things she's getting like as far as death threats and things like that. And then Russ said he's tired of it.
I'm a follow. I follow Stephen A. a lot. He's wild. He's that loud uncle at the barbecue and all that stuff. But a lot of stuff, if you really listen to him, he be talking a bunch of facts. And he condemned anybody giving them death threats.
Yes.
Because nobody would accept that. Mm-hmm. But the other stuff is you can't sit up here, I don't care who you are, you can't sit up here and make $40 million a year and then just act like you don't care. That's the only thing, man. If and I've talked about this before, if Westbrook would just own up to everything, Laker Nation would be a little more forgiving. You know what I'm saying?
And I think he would play better too.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And I think what's the specific thing you're talking about when you say like act like? Because I think are you referring to when he's like it's just basketball? It ain't that big of a thing. Championships don't matter.
Yeah, you can't say. He said it in Washington, and as Stephen A. Smith said, you can say anything you want in Washington. Yeah, they really don't care. But you can't do that for the Lakers, man. Come on, like. You can't do that for the Lakers, can't do that for the Celtics, can't do that for the Spurs, can't do that for the Sixers, where you just don't care. Mm-hmm. And don't say it's just basketball because it's changed your life forever, your generational wealth. But, just say, you making $40 million, I could honestly sit up there and be like, I play like shit tonight, and but I got to get it right.
And he's done that a couple times, but not consistently.
Yep. If you did that, everybody would get behind you. Mm-hmm. Trust me. Mm-hmm. Trust me. That's the way fans, they just want to feel like they ain't disrespected.
Yeah. And a part of it, like, because stuff comes out that, the Lakers are having a hard time telling him, well, first, they've already agreed that they're going to find him a new home in the summer, right? But they're having a hard time, and Vogel is having a hard time getting him to come off the or accept a new role. So you waited until this long.
No. Now there's reports because me and Coach Jones talked about this last night that Vogel wanted to bench him before and bring him off, but management wouldn't let him. But again, what's the common denominator in all this stuff? Whether it be Westbrook coming, whether it be Caruso leaving, whatever, it's why is Kurt Rambis and his wife making decisions for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Let me give you this, though. Something I saw today. The Zen Whisperer has been conferring and consulting all season as well, too. Phil Jackson has been called in to help and give some input on things, too, as well, with Jenny Buss, right? And it's like inconsistency. When there's too many voices around, that becomes a problem, right? That's why we're successful with Hoop Mountain, because we were able to tone down the noise. And it was like, look, at first we have so many people going, we need rein it in, right? Like, big dog got us here. This is where you go, but stay right here. And so that way there's no conflict and everybody can focus on what's really good. Because with too many voices, that means too many people are there trying to make decisions. It's taking longer to make decisions. Somebody's questioning something and you're going behind backs. Well,
it's too many people making decisions. They ain't basketball people.
Man,
I'm sorry. Like, Kurt Rambis, yes. He was a Laker. He's a beloved Laker, yes. But let's think about this. Was Kurt Rambis ever known as a high IQ guy?
Come on. He was a bruiser.
He was a bruiser, hustler. That's why everybody loved him, you know? And so now he's making the decisions. Come on. Then you got his wife. We've never even heard of her having any type of basketball background until now.
She ain't Cheryl Miller.
You know, and so it's
Doris Burke.
It's just too many people with, you know, having input. And then you talk about Phil having a say-so in certain things. Well, Phil ain't even in the area right now.
Don't know what's going on. Don't know the temperature in there. Yep. And quiet as kept, Bron don't really rock with Phil. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that comment he made when he was in New York, like.
And let's be real. This is where older guys have to understand sometimes. Man, shit is past.
And Phil, you submitted.
Yeah.
Like, you submitted. And they probably pulling at him to come help.
Yep.
You know, but that's where, too, it's like the change of guard that we talked about, right? Like, when you at a certain space, you got to know when your time has passed for you to be the head of something, right? And sometimes you got to be that Alfred from Batman to where I'm not all the way in the action. Yep. You in the action, but I'm the one that's giving you some wise advice to keep you moving into the right direction because it's your energy and your ideas now. Like, maybe we need some new young talent. Go find us a James Jones or something like that to make it move, you know? Like, Pelinka can't still be relishing the relationship with the late, great Kobe Bryant to be in that position. That's not enough anymore, right? Because even Kobe would tell you got to make a move now because it's not working.
Yeah, you know, see, that's the other thing I like to speak on. Okay, so you made a mistake, right? Fix it. That's it. Just try to fix it. Then at least Laker Nation will say, okay, hey, we lost, but we're trying, you know. Man. And then, you know, you think about when Kobe was there. Pelinka did what he was supposed to do for his client. But you know what? The Laker organization, in conjunction with Pelinka, screwed the Lakers. They screwed Kobe out of his final few years.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know.
We should have had a way better team.
They gave him the big contract, right? Okay, common sense tells you that. We got to go with luxury tax. We just have to.
And it's worth it for that.
You know, if you got Kobe still playing, you got to give him something. He'll make sure you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, you know, they ain't want to do it. So, you know, here he is. He's stuck in a bad contract at the end of his years. He shouldn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that takes me back to, you know, I wrote some notes down a couple weeks ago about some things I want to bring up about this loyalty crap. All you young millennials and all this crap talking about, you know, these players today aren't loyal, whatever. When has a team been loyal to a player?
Yeah.
You know, so people think this is being loyal. You play out of your prime. They don't re-sign you to a big deal, you know, because sometimes you're owed back money. If you started playing late 80s, early 90s, the big money didn't come till the end of the 90s. So they kind of owe you a little something for putting them on the map. But they kick you out. You got to go play somewhere else. And then maybe your last year, they come let you get 1 year, or they give you some type of front office job. That ain't necessarily loyalty. Mm-hmm. That's just doing what's right in the eyes of the public. But loyalty is making sure when you're in your prime, you got everything you need to give you the best chance of winning. Not every team did that.
Right.
And so why would they be loyal? And then let me give you guys a history lesson. The late, great Kobe Bryant wasn't going to go for that crap. He was still in his prime then. And he said, if you don't give me any help, I will sit out every game.
Right.
And so my thing is, if we had been in the social media world then, what would people be saying about Kobe? Is he not loyal? No, he's loyal to the game.
Yes.
So make sure you take care of him.
Exactly.
You know, MJ in Chicago. Let Chicago have been losing beyond those first 7-8 years that Jordan endured all those ass kickings he got from Detroit. Mm-hmm. trust me, Jordan would have left.
For sure.
And people have been like, dang, Jordan played for Sacramento Kings.
Now, when you bring that up, right, you talk about players that they withstood the grind. They earned the time. They stayed 5, 6, 7 years. They played blood, sweat, and tears. They worked out with their team. They showed up to training camp. They worked in the summer with their body right. And then when the manager wasn't doing their job after I've shown up and done mine, then you put them on notice like, look, let's make this happen.
Yeah, you got to.
On the flip side, we got Zion. And now, last week when we were going to record, we took the time out. Me and my guys were in the group chat arguing, and they were like, is Zion a bust, right? And my guy RJ was like, man, he is a yellow bust. Either school bus, yellow bus, a bus, right? And James was like, can't be a bust if he was an all-star the 1 year he played. But RJ, in his defense, he was like, that's exactly why he's a bust. He came in, was supposed to be the next King James, supposed to be the face of the league, supposed to be all of that stuff, and we get 80 games out of him in 3 seasons, and now he's trying to force his way out. And he doesn't look healthy, right? And like that entitlement to where what have you done in this league for the NBA, for basketball, for you to be trying to sit out on purpose? Like, I think part of his injury is because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do to be in shape to be ready to play.
Well, to be honest, he never wanted to be in New Orleans.
But man, you get to play in the NBA.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he never wanted to be there, so he didn't completely buy in.
Yeah.
And so why is he acting like this? Because the media and the league allows him to do this. When you pay so much money up front for a player that may have potential to be a great player but isn't there yet, and, you kind of give them, the reins of the team, this is what happens. And then, let's face it, for a player to come into the league now and just completely play at a high level like he did, I mean, that also tells you, like, the overall health of the league ain't as strong as people think. Mm-hmm. There's some great players, but we talk about the middle group. They're not that strong, and so a guy like Zion came in with overwhelming athleticism, energy, and don't get me wrong, he is skilled. Now, he is skilled. It just doesn't look as pretty as, say, a John Moran or whatever, but he's skilled, and now he can do whatever he wants. Philly, Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But Ben played. I give it, Ben played. Ben played a few seasons.
Yeah.
Ben through a process. Ben at least gave us some time. Ben at least messed up in the playoffs. Yeah. Ben at least was there for something, right? And it was still playing, right? So that's where it's like it's frustrating to watch because we respect the game.
Yeah, I get it. But I also look at it like, if I'm the Pelicans, because remember, we talk about now that general manager is the guy that's with the Cavs. Remember, he badmouthed LeBron. Now you got a chance to start fresh, and you haven't been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Your coaching hires haven't been great.
Yeah.
And then now your roster moves haven't been great. And
they did better with Willie Green now and CJ McCollum, but now that's too late after you already blew it up.
Too late. You saw it. You knew it was bad when JJ Redick, I'm out.
Right.
JJ Redick's not a player that's high maintenance, but he said, I'm out.
Yeah. And he talked about his issues with Zion not being a professional. Yeah. Right. And now Zion is, reaching out and he's supposed to be trying to play soon and everything. But that's the two ends of the spectrum to where it's like, come on, you gotta respect the game.
Yeah, you do. Right.
Yeah.
But you also it's tough because, we talk about being loyal to yourself and then to the team. You think about
but King he played.
I know but listen to this. Think about Eli Manning in football. Mm-hmm. He didn't get drafted by the Giants.
Yeah.
He said, I think he was Chargers maybe. He's like, I ain't going over there.
But what his name allowed him to do that.
I mean, we talking about a different type of hype too.
Yeah.
We talking about Zion. Zion wasn't no regular hype coming out. I mean,
man, but
certain people do this all the time. The only thing is sometimes the narrative is different because it's a family name or something like that. It's sort of the same thing.
But he didn't play And it's not like he's keeping himself in great shape so he's ready to go to the next phase. Like, his career never going to be the same.
But again, let me ask you, if you're the GM for the Pelicans and you know he doesn't want to be there, aren't you going to make a play to package him to get as much as you can for him? Because you know he doesn't want to be there. Or are you going to try to be as arrogant and say, we're going to make him play?
Well, the first thing is that I can't trade somebody that ain't healthy anyway, right? And so
no, you can trade him because you know.
But they got to pass the physicals. There's a couple people that ain't passed physicals that trade.
Yeah, but
we don't even know what's really wrong with him.
Zion, if Zion had never played the first NBA game, he's tradable. Because
Because of hype.
People gonna go on the potential.
But what about now? Though, is what I'm saying. I just don't like the way he carrying it. We ain't had a word from this babble. Nothing.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just telling you that you are, as a franchise, is absolutely insane that you try to force a player to stay there that doesn't want to. That just is stupid, man. Like,
but you look at how much money walking out the door. That's why you think about it in that way. And numbers is like, who? But I did. Kendrick Perkins said something interesting. New Orleans isn't the best spot for an NBA team.
Bro, I'm trying to listen.
Yeah. So, but that's a league thing though. Like, the league needs to make an adjustment to where it's like, we talk about the WNBA and how like they don't need to be in the same cities as the NBA teams. They need to be in Louisville, in South Carolina, somewhere where they got markets already. So like, we went to New Orleans, but we knew that's Saints country.
Yeah.
Right? like, you still got Vegas and Seattle.
You got SEC football in the area. So it's
LSU and everything else is never going to be the spot.
But if the owner is going to have a team there, you at least got to have a winning product.
Yeah, they did at one point,
but they ain't recently. You know? Like all right, ask yourself this: since you've been alive, when have you known a star player in his prime wanting to go to Utah? But you know what the Utah organization did? They always got the players that they know would fit into the community.
Yeah.
And so that's what you got to do, man.
And they've always been a winning franchise since I know.
Because they do what they need to do for their franchise, for their city, for their. You can't let's face it. You don't want to be. You don't want to play. You're not a city kid. You don't want to play for the Knicks. Don't try to force him to be a Knick. You try to package him and get as much for him as you can because you're going to lose him ultimately.
Yeah, true. Man, but, that's the way the league go. They had a couple 50 pieces getting passed around like dinner. You had Tatum just recently get 50 to the Nets. You had Bron go for 56 at age 37.
Against who?
The Warriors. Yeah.
Well, hold on.
And we won that one.
Where was Wiggins?
But we just lost to Popovich. And shout out to Popovich. I think he just became the all-time winningest coach in NBA history.
I think he tied.
Oh, he tied Don Nelson.
He tied.
Shout out to Pop, man. Pop got the Steven Seagal hair grower.
Man.
That's that San Antonio vibe. And it's all white. Pop's scary.
Man, Pops just don't care no more.
Listen, man. Shout out to him. He gangster, man. But it's fun to watch Ja. It's fun to watch Ja. The Celtics and the Mavs have been killing it. Shout out to Udoka and J. Kidd. That's some love for some black coaches right there. That's something that we always want to make sure we champion because nobody talks about that. The Mavs have been looking really good and strong since they traded for Dinwiddie and got KP out of there, and Luka got in shape. Just the other night, Luka took a night off, and Dinwiddie took them to victory with a 36-piece. That's going to change the complexity of the Mavs altogether. I don't think they're going to win a championship, but they're playing better basketball on both ends of the court.
Yeah,
Celtics too. Celtics won 18 of the last 20.
Celtics, their ultimate goal is to win a championship because that's just in their DNA. The Mavericks just want to be relevant. It's a big city, but they ain't.
Yeah. And with Luka though, they could win one. So it's like another Dirk thing. They can have pieces come in to help them win one because Luka's a fan one.
Yeah, but they got to have a hell of a piece because right now.
No, for sure. For sure. But the big thing with Boston is they're playing better defensively. And to be honest, if you look at their personnel, they got a lot of interchangeable pieces and guys that can get it done. And they made a trade and got Derek White, who gives him another like point guard coming out of a Spurs system to where he's high IQ. Quiet as kept, those guys are getting it done over there. So definitely shout that out. But it's March, man, and we would be remiss if we did not mention March Madness. You've been able to play in it, being a part of it. This is probably, and I can feel it. I kind of, because, around this time of the year, because you're on college campus, you can feel, because basketball goes over 2 semesters and it goes through the seasons, you can feel when March gets here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not wearing that heavy coat over your team sweatsuit anymore. You can just go out in a sweatsuit.
It depends where you at.
Yeah. Well, for me,
you're in Wisconsin. You
got the fur.
Yeah.
But it's March Madness time, and this is like what dreams are made of, man. Like those moments of getting into the tourneys, those upsets, those Cinderella teams. This is what every hoop star that we're looking at and all these young high school guys were saying, like, you could potentially be a part of that if you were to work. And like, we got to find a way to get that energy here for them to see it within these next couple of years.
You know what we got to do? Since you mentioned that, we got to set up something where we can get everybody together and watch the game.
Yeah. And we know a couple of parents that'll help do that stuff too. But March Madness, get something together, because, man, that energy is magical. Like all those times on AAU, you're practicing, you're playing, you're getting together so you can get the opportunity to play on those big stages. It's nothing like it, man. It's nothing like it.
Yeah, and it's already starting crazy too, because the conference tournaments have already had some buzzer beaters.
And those are the mid-major ones who got to win the conference tournament to get in.
Yep.
Speaking of upset, University of Kentucky girls just beat South Carolina girls on a buzzer. Women. I'm sorry.
Let's make sure we get that right.
Yeah.
Nobody coming at us
for sure. But we stated this in the beginning of this season, but we'll definitely try to keep track of the March Madness stuff going forward, because we got our guy Hunter Dickinson at Michigan is doing.
They just knocked off somebody the other day too,
and he played well.
No, they knocked off somebody without him. Somebody that was ranked.
So it's big after that, and then Providence is killing.
Yeah.
They got a young boy that's from around the DMV that's playing well, and then of course our ties with Coach Thomas. And number 11 in the country right now, or something like that, top 15.
They actually the number one seed in the Big East tournament, and they just won. And I never thought about this because so many great coaches came from Providence. This is the first time ever that they've won the regular season Big East championship.
Oh, that's heavy.
That's crazy. The first time ever to win the Big East regular season title.
I'm not surprised, though. Think about the Big East heavy hitters.
But you talking about Pitino. You talking about.
Yeah, but he was great. He was amongst other giants, too. That just shows you how great that conference was, right? Like, everywhere you go, Pitino is a young Pitino. You got Boeheim, you got Thompson, you got a bunch of big times over there. It's heavy, but it's going to be fun. So we'll start the document and talk more about that. It'll be time to make picks soon, so we got to go do some research and see what's going on. Man, we don't talk about politics here, and we won't, because we stay in our lane with certain things. Even though Coach is a history buff, and we are informed. You do take like history. We always in the news. We do pay attention.
I ain't tell you, tell everybody else.
Man, they gotta know you got layers. We got layers to them. You know what I'm saying? But one of our basketball peers on the other side, Brittney Griner, is facing up to 10 years in Russia for getting caught going into Russia with a vape pen. And they're saying, is she a political prisoner? Is she, a war prisoner? Like, what is going on? For those of you who don't know, Russia is one of the highest paying countries for women basketball internationally. Like, big stars that are in the WNBA, they can go there and make millions. Right, and so I guess she was going into Russia in the last 3 weeks with all the news going into Russia to go with her team, and she got caught with that vape pen and all those things. So I don't know, but from what I do know, if she was making a decision to go into Russia in the middle of this, it just is not a good decision making, ma'am.
First,
that's what I was saying.
To go into Russia at any point in time, going to the airport with that stuff.
Nothing.
It ain't worth it.
It's worse than going through New York with a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we won't talk too much on it, but we hope she gets home safely.
Right.
We hope she doesn't become a casualty of, sanctions and other political issues. We hope that she's not someone that has to be made an example out of. As somebody's sister.
Let's hope that the most she gets is banned from playing in Russia.
Yeah.
She can go play somewhere else,
yeah.
but no imprisonment because you don't want that.
And especially not internationally. Like, prison, period. It's inhumane. So, Brittney Griner, our thoughts are with you. We hope you get home safe. And we know better decisions are made after this. And somebody learns from this as well. Shout out to those guys like Mo Crete and those other guys that were trapped in Ukraine and finally got home. There's a lesson in that. King, you got 10 plus years professionally, overseas, internationally. Uncle Ro had about that many as well. And you guys always gave me the same talk when I was saying I still wanted to play overseas. Have your ticket money ready.
Yeah. You knowing that, especially in today's age where social media is, where news first gets out and it hits you instantly. You playing in a war-torn area or a country that's about to enter a conflict, man, what you waiting on? You can always come back. Man, get on a flight. If you got to borrow some money, burn up your credit cards, whatever you got, man, get on a flight, get home.
Hey, ain't no loyalty.
No, sir. No, sir.
Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah.
It was funny. There's a video going around social media. I sent it to you, and it was like, this is how that one player acts, that one import acts when he doesn't get paid.
Yep.
You don't pay me on time, I'm not playing.
Yep.
Right? And if it looks like there's any hint of conflict on this Middle East, I'm hitting the road, Jack.
Yep.
Don't play with me.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Something goes down, you're always better off at home.
Listen, this is familiar territory.
Yep.
Coach K, man. Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, had his final game, Duke and Cameron Indoor Stadium against UNC. UNC took the W, but the bigger game, Coach K. I'm a UNC fan, right? UNC fan. And now that he's retiring, I can admit that Coach K is amazing. What he was able to do, that level of excellency. And I guess people don't really understand how small Duke is.
Yes, very small school.
I didn't understand how small Duke was until I became older, because they always had like a larger than life personality or like prestige. But to take somewhere like Duke, that small, and turn that into what will forever be a basketball cornerstone,
A juggernaut,
and is full of history and what he's given to the game. The players he's given us. The coaches that have come from under him, like, we appreciated the battles between UNC and Duke and what they did to keep that rivalry together for so long. I'm not sure it'll ever be the same. They'll have to figure that out. But shout out to Coach K. You got any Coach K stories?
No, except for the time we went there to play them.
Yeah.
And let's just say they beat the brakes off of it.
In Cameron Indoor?
And Cameron Indoor, like. The story of it.
That's Coppin or Temple?
Temple.
Mm-hmm.
The story of it is that was the first time I'd ever seen people camp out before a game.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, y'all know it's cold out here, right?
It was 90, 96?
Nah, this was like 90, between 92 and 94.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my early years there. And I just knew it was big time when Dick Vitale is there and he's crowd surfing around, and I'm just like,
what the hell is this?
What the hell is this? And on TV, Cameron looks big. Cameron's super small and intimate.
Yeah.
So it gets loud in that joint. And the students are allowed to sit like right. They get the bottom bowl. Man, it's crazy. Like, it's so crazy, man, that I went back maybe about 7 years ago just to look at the Hall of Fame and step foot in there again, take some pictures. And it's just like when you walk in there, man, you just feel like you're walking into history.
Yeah.
And all the great players that have played there, man, it's crazy.
Directly connected to Coach K. Like,
all of them.
We talk about that longevity, and this wasn't even a topic, but it just popped up. Primetime, Deion Sanders was just talking about how college coaches aren't even recruiting high school kids anymore. The portal is like free agency. And one of the reasons he said was like, as a coach, I don't have that long here. So I'm not taking that 18-year-old. I'm going to take that kid that I know already adjusted to college, and I already know what's good with them, or I already know what's bad with them, and he's played a year already, because I don't have time to be sitting here. And he's talking about how the NCAA is probably going to have to make an adjustment and give more scholarships for the high school kids, because we won't recruit them. We got a pool of free agents in college basketball.
We just talked about that the other day. Me, Coach Jones, and then myself and another coach. Because one of our local kids I used to train, TJ knows him, Mac Albert just got a scholarship to Furman.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his mom and I were talking about how he's so lucky that he got a scholarship, because there's so few scholarships now to high school players. And so they are going to have to do something, or the high school athletes going to have to step up even more.
Yeah.
Because now prep schools are being flooded. Junior college is being flooded.
And prep schools are popping up everywhere.
And, and I talked about this. I know it looks bad on the coaches because they don't take as many high school players, but athletic directors and team presidents do not give you enough time anymore. And
we'll table this and come back to it in depth later, because it's a lot of layers to that, right? But Coach K, man, shout out to you. It was a pleasure watching you. It was a pleasure watching people compete against you, watching you work. It's going to be great hearing more from you post-basketball, because that's when the stories come out.
Right.
And so that's going to be dope to hear.
You're a legend, man.
Man, unbelievable. And again, 20 years in one spot. And that's important for college. We talk about building families, building culture, and like at the grassroots level. Because college is still at that age where you're teaching young men how to become grown men, or young women how to become grown women. And so you're setting the foundation. It's just the end of that foundation. So continuity, that longevity, you see what it did for Duke, right? You see what it did for UNC with Roy Williams. And you talk about Indiana in his prime, and Georgetown in his prime, and Syracuse still.
Well, yeah, that's why kids went to those schools back then. They didn't go because of the school. They went because of the
coaches. Yeah, for sure. Chaney, yeah. But speaking of back then and now, we talking about bridging the gap. We're going to come and we conclude with our final segment, right? It's something that's been popping up. Technology is cool, but you're missing something, right? And what is it? And what I mean by that is I just watch some people that are like technology gurus, social media gurus, and even Wiz Khalifa talk about how we grew up in the internet age, and now he's kind of had to go backwards and relearn a bunch of stuff because people aren't using books. We got books sitting right here, and yes, I read these. Well, I read that one full all the way through. I got to get through, decode it. But there's something different about having a hard copy of a book, or sitting in person, face-to-face with somebody and working through things together that you don't get because of technology, right? And, we come into place, and we talk about this with the kids, like this is why basketball is important, because technology is going to be technology. It's going to grow. It's going to make things easier. But with anything that's good, there's bad that comes with it. And like we're missing out on a lot of stuff, a lot of communication stuff, a lot of nonverbal things and learning. Like they used to burn books back in the day.
Yeah. So
right, like that says something right there, right? So what from the OG looking at what we're dealing with young adults alike, right, and the youth below, like what we missing out on?
The two things that come to mind immediately are, one, common sense.
That's familiar. We talk about that all the time, every other episode.
Common sense, man. When back in the day when you had to seek information, you had to go look at an encyclopedia. Mm-hmm. Half of the young guys don't even know what an encyclopedia is, or you had to go to the library. So you physically had to get up and go get a book that weighed 10 pounds to open it up to scroll through and get to what you want to look at and research, or you had to physically walk to the library or whatever. And so in that process, you picked up little things such as, being able to sharpen your reading skills. Because if you couldn't read, you know what I'm saying? Nobody, it wasn't like the audio of, Instagram or something right now speaking to you. You had to actually read and, enunciate and stuff like that.
Attention span, more than 3 minutes.
Physically going to the library, you got to mark your route to get there and then know how to get home and things. So just, you picked up things common sense wise. The second thing, probably number one, is kids today lack social skills.
Adults too.
You can't be, or you can be, but you should not be 13, 14 years old and you go to school every day and you don't have any friends.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be 13, 14, going to school every day and not understand when I walk into a room, I got to greet the adults. Or when I'm around other kids, introduce myself. That shouldn't happen. But we find that a lot, with today's kids, that we have to teach them these skills and force them to do those things until they become second nature.
And like one of the results of all this technology use is like high social anxiety. Right. Like some of these kids and even some parents and adults, like they're having attacks if just thinking about connecting with other humans.
Yeah.
Right. And like we're having to, you might hear coach say, you got to make friends or you should have friends. And some people are like, but I can't. And that's because you're right. Just like everything, there's a comfort zone you got to get out of. And you got to be able to work the kinks out. And that's what you do in face with people, right? Like having to be there authentically and organically. So, put the tech down a little bit because everything comes full circle, man. Like technology is not going to go anywhere, but we're going to refine and redefine how it's used and what's valuable to us. Right, like people introducing the metaverse and all those things. Those things are in its beginning stages, but what's going to have to still remain is that people are going to have to be people, and humans are going to have to interact with humans. It's just going to have to. It's just a fact. And so we got to make sure we make an extra effort to do so, or we're gonna go crazy. We're gonna go crazy. But we're back in action. That's the power for today. Everybody that's checking in and that's in the UAE or will be moving to the UAE, check us out at Hoop Mountain DXB, hoopmountain.ae online, Hoop Mountain DXB on all social media platforms. Check us out. Cool things are coming. We have a few cool meetings this week on top of the big events. So we're working on some things. Let's keep building that culture. As you guys know, we wrap up every week with the same thing, post-game wrap-ups. I'm going to go first this time. I'm going to go first this time, give you some time to, get yourself together.
I already, I got some.
See, I know you did. I'm going to, instead of, not a statement today for the post-game wrap-up, but a question to keep in mind. Sometimes when we're making decisions, for me, I always have my mom's voice in my head, or Uncle Ro, or Aunt Lisa, or you, or maybe it's something that I've read or something like that. You
never had my voice in your mind.
Yeah, I got to make sure I didn't do what you did, because he was a wild guy. But there's something that helped me when making decisions, and this is something that will go across your business, personal, your friendships, anything. Is it worth it? Right. Within that, you have to define what makes something worth it for you. But sit and think about that, because that helps you put a lot of things in order before you make that big move to quit or move anything, or before you take the time to say, I'm just going to deal with the issues that I got here at this workspace because I got a job. Just ask yourself, is it worth it? Pros and cons, what you gain, what you lose, what the future looks like. Ask yourself, is it worth it before you make that next move? Is it worth it to argue with this person? Is it worth it to do this? That one question, those few words can change up everything, right? And save you a lot of headache because you make that decision yourself. Is it worth it? That's on you.
I like that, man.
Yeah, we get it.
I like that you went first too. That's crazy. You went first.
Hold on.
Out of how many episodes? Like,
I mean, you ain't got that good of a memory, so we ain't gonna start.
Shut up. So for me, mine is quick little phrase, personal phrase for me. Keep going and keep growing, because a lot of people, myself included, have had a rough 2 years dealing with this COVID situation, because our social lives, our work lives, personal lives, and in terms of how we deal with friends and whatnot, have been turned upside down. And it's really been bothering me somewhat that I feel like a hamster sometimes stuck in a wheel, and I'm just spinning. I'm not going anywhere, and so I'm getting to a point where I gotta have something else to stimulate me, especially my mental, or I feel like sometimes I'm gonna lose my mind, and so I gotta find new ways to feed my hunger for just staying active and doing something new and stay engaged. So when I say keep growing, I think that no one should get to a certain point in their life where they just say, I'm good. No, you're always going to learn. I like to coach. I like being around basketball, but I'm always learning every day. And I'm not afraid to ask questions and things like that. But what about the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. And so basketball is a big part of my life, but there's some other things that, that I want to do, things I want to see. And, so I got to find a way, and very soon, to make those things happen. Or, I feel like, you're not supposed to dwell in the past, but I feel like I've wasted some time.
Mm-hmm.
And I never want to feel like I waste time, because we only get one chance at, being on this earth.
Yeah.
And so that's why I got to say I got to keep going, keep growing.
Yeah, there it is, guys. Sit with that, some good one-liners. Keep going, keep growing. And is it worth it? All right, and as you guys know it, that's the episode for today. BTG Nation, make sure you all subscribe everywhere, and you know the saying, keep it real, keep it simple, and keep going.
Player and coach, the brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation, and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.